lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with a few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's going on, everybody? How are you? Good evening. It is 8 o'clock. It is Monday again. It is April 28th, 2025. This is the Driving Speaker Box Podcast, your source for movie information, reviews, news, commentary, opinions, and life advice, but not financial advice. From us. I'm your host, Bo, the Boom Operator.
I'm Slick Doggy the Grip.
And welcome to the show. We've got a show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about movies, as we always do. For those of you that have been watching on Twitch in our pre-show, it's also your source for pizza news and reviews. We spent the past half hour reviewing chain pizza in a very March Madness style pizza bracket. So if you want to get in on those fun conversations, don't forget to follow us or like us over on Twitch. You can get into our Discord. You know, it's not always movies here. We're pizza adjacent, I don't even think adjacent. We're very.
We talk about pizza and eats fairly frequently.
If this were a test kitchen, this could easily be a food show, and we probably get a whole lot more viewers of people that want to talk about food than talk about movies. But anyway, we're here to talk about movies. I went and saw Until Dawn this week. I went and saw it at the theater. And what did you check out this week?
I saw Cheech and Chong's last movie, and I watched the entire final season of You on Netflix.
Well, I'm only halfway through it. I didn't know you watched You.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, is it because of your girlfriend or?
I mean, she likes it too, but
okay.
I mean, it's some of the seasons have been pretty good.
I mean, yeah, it's not a bad show. But I have not finished it, but I was working my way through it. But we'll be talking about all that stuff later in the show. But the first half of the show is for new stuff. It's stuff that's in the news, movies that are coming out this weekend, things that have happened in the week that we've been away, and we're gonna talk to you about it. So while I get my news feed pulled up, what do you got? You got any fun news bits to mention?
Well, one thing, Coyote vs. Acme has officially been saved. It has been pulled off of the WB shelf and will be made visible to audiences. I guess something called Ketchup Entertainment has gotten a hold of it. And that has been confirmed by a couple of the actors, or at least one of the actors in the film, and they're very excited for it to actually be put on screens somewhere. So
I'm looking forward to it. I wanna see this movie because I mean it feels like it could be like another Roger Rabbit. You know what I mean? Because there hasn't been a good hybrid animation, live action, hand-drawn animation, mind you, live action movie since probably
Space Jam.
Yeah, I would say the first Space Jam, because the second Space Jam was a whatever. But I mean that hit that node. I mean there aren't many of them really. I mean you got Cool World, you got Roger Rabbit, you got Space Jam, but they're Monkey Bone's a little bit different because it was stop motion in a lot of things, and it was more surrealist. Not everything was stop motion. It had these different kind of environments, but
Cool World. I don't know that Cool World is in the same league.
It's the same
as
style.
Roger Rabbit and
I love
Space
Cool
Jam.
World.
I'm not saying anything against Cool World. We like it, of course.
Well, Incredible. You go back, it was a thing. Like Incredible Mr. Limpet, Mary Poppins, like Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yes.
All of these things had those elements, but it wasn't like the main.
Those are all really good movies.
Yeah, they are.
But I don't think that Cool World is in the same league as Roger Rabbit and Space Jam. Is all I'm saying.
On what criteria? Are we talking just quality of movies?
Overall quality of the film.
Love Cool World.
Oh, Pete's Dragon's a good one. Yeah.
I because I love Ralph Bakshi. And that was an interesting situation because it was one of the only movies, even in the categories that we listed, that was not for kids. Cool World is not a kids movie. All of those, every single one of those other movies were kids movies.
Roger Rabbit.
That was marketed towards kids. It was.
I think it's a family movie. I don't think it's a kids movie.
Roger Rabbit. I'd
Yeah.
say it's a young adult movie. But
I think it's a There's Something for Everybody movie.
yeah, I mean that's why it's so great. Roger Rabbit is a beautiful piece of art. Vince over on Twitch says, I watched Cool World for the first time a few months ago and found it unwatchable. I can see the appeal, though. I think unwatchable is a pretty big word, but I think you'd have to also kind of appreciate Ralph Bakshi's style because he was making that movie as... I guess you just have to go understand Ralph Bakshi's process of making movies.
Yeah.
He makes movies not to be like, I want entertainment or people to love these. Just like his edition of Lord of the Rings, I find that pretty unwatchable.
Oh, wow,
But
really?
I hate it, but I also love it because I appreciate what he was doing in that thing with all the rotoscoped like riders. It was just where they're colored in the eyes. Like I fucking hate it, but it's also awesome at the same time. Does that make sense?
Cool World is from a different time in movies, and I think it's a slower pace. It's not fast action like Roger Rabbit and Space Jam and stuff like that too.
Well, it's a
and
neo noir.
Yeah. Well, and didn't Bakshi do Fire and Ice?
He did Fire and Ice.
Yeah,
he
hell
did
yeah.
like Fritz the Cat. He did. I mean, he does a lot of controversial animation.
Well, and
that's
there's
why
that.
I like him.
There's that whole style of movies like Heavy Metal and Wizards and Fire and Ice.
All very
and-
Bakshi.
Yeah. I think that they have their audience, which I think that's us.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Ralph
but-
Bakshi's not somebody that everybody just goes, ooh, because, I mean, Ralph Bakshi did also direct Wizards. I mean,
Oh, dude, Wizards is such a fun movie.
every movie that you listed, he directed. And he's got a style that is amazing in its own right.
He did Heavy Metal.
Well, he had segments in Heavy Metal.
yeah, okay. Yeah,
so,
that makes sense.
that was a lot of... He did American Pop, which American Pop is really, really good. Wizards, really, really good. Fritz the Cat is very controversial. Heavy Traffic, also very controversial.
What was the one with the Canadian aliens? Does that make sense to you? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about Rock and Rule?
Maybe it had
'Cause
like
that's a really good movie, too.
John Candy as a voice, and I think it had like a bunch of the Second City people as voices or whatever. It'll make sense to someone, maybe.
Nah, well, no.
But
We're just-
anyhow, yeah,
this was not planned
No,
conversation.
I don't think that Cool World is unwatchable, but I do understand that maybe it's like a genre of movie that doesn't agree with you, but it is still it's a good movie. So yeah. Anyhow, Wile E. Coyote versus Acme is going to be a thing. Since people were shortening Cool World to CW, and there was something about Select Theaters having a Minecraft movie block party. Talking of CW and Select Theaters, Mother's Day, the Queen of the Ring movie is going to be re-released in theaters in markets across the country because it's a movie about a physically and character strong female and
Mom.
starring Emily Bett Rickards from Arrow on CW and all that. So that's cool. If you didn't get a chance to see it the first time around, I know that Velvet Santa really wanted to see it. Big wrestling fans, and so you can go watch it in theaters again, or for the first time coming up on Mother's Day. So that's kind of cool.
All right. Other bits of news.
Vince asked, was it Canadian Bacon or Strange Brew? No, those are live action movies with no animated segments. But Strange Brew is one of my favorite movies.
That we all know that one. Did you guys catch this trailer? I saw it this weekend when I went and saw Until Dawn, but there's a new trailer that got dropped this week. The I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is weird because it's just taking the same name. Usually they add a to, or I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, or I Know What You Did This Summer, Remember That Thing, etc. It's a legacy sequel, and they're bringing back a whole bunch of, I guess, these 90s teen heartthrobs to have cameo appearances in this slasher that I guess they're making it into a legacy slash. Because I mean, I Know What You Did Last Summer, I wouldn't have ever been, oh yeah, that's a legacy slasher movie. But I guess when we're so void of new ideas, that I guess that fits the criteria. Like, I mean, what? Did you ever watch those?
I watched the first one, the original one.
So there was I think the last one was a 2006 direct-to-DVD that was like, I'll always know what you did last summer. And so this is actually like part 4. I mean, Jennifer Love Hewitt's, I guess, needed work, and so did Freddie Prinze Jr. I did not know that they were still...
Does Freddie Prinze Jr. need work? I think he got Disney dollars.
I mean, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Billy Campbell, I know some of our viewers in the audience love The Rocketeer, but he's, the Rocketeer himself, man.
Oh, really? Was he in the first I Know What You Did Last Summer?
No, he's going to be in this new movie. So, yeah, this film's going to take up 27 years after the 1998 I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. So yeah, weird. Yeah. Anyway, so I thought that trailer was weird. Somebody in the theater was like, "I'm sick of all these remakes. Oh my god!" And I just she was only 3 people away from me, and I go, "It's actually a sequel." And she goes, "Oh."
Yeah, it's just when you look for it now on Google, you have to put parentheses 2025 or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know what? Talking of movies that don't need sequels, though.
Predator.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, we can talk about that one in just a second. Sisu, the movie about the Scandinavian guy looking for gold, and then the Nazis come and make his life hell. So he doesn't die 2 or 3 times, and so he kills all these Nazi dudes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, they were getting a sequel.
It's getting a sequel. It's going to come out November this year.
But why though?
Exactly. I don't know. I could not tell you. But it has like Stephen Lang is going to be in it. I mean, I guess it's going to have like American actors this time around.
They're clearly kept finding a type.
But I don't know how that movie can have a sequel. I don't think that movie should have any kind of sequel.
No. Unless it's a prequel.
Well, they're calling it a sequel.
Okay.
I thought it was a pretty well done, self-contained movie with its little story. Really liked it. So I don't know that I would have any interest in watching any kind of sequel to that. But Lionsgate is getting it out there.
Of course they are.
But yeah, so Predator. We got to look at the new, not Yautja Predator whatever thing for Badlands, and like a little bit of a trailer for it where it is an Alien and Predator crossover already, and it's the Predator, the protagonist is the not Predator,
the Predator adjacent.
Yeah. So I guess the story of this is that he's a little predator and he pissed off people on the Yautja homeworld, so they dump him on a planet, and he has to kill a big monster to prove himself because that's the Yautja way, and he runs into a Weyland-Yutani cyborg.
And they become homies.
And they have to fight together against whatever big critters on this planet. But they have taken some extreme liberties with what a predator can look like, and they gave it its hair slicked back real nice. It's probably looking for some sloppy steaks on
He's
this
a Dapper
planet.
Dan.
Yeah, just a real shitbag. It looks stupid. It looks incredibly stupid.
I'm sure it will be.
I do not like all of these liberties that are being taken with what a Yautja can look like, from the Hulu bullshit movie onto this one, where it was whatever kind of creature
you just wanted to make.
Just give us a normal friggin' predator. What is wrong with a jungle hunter, or what's wrong with the any of the Predator designs from
Well,
Predator 2.
I think the reason is it goes back into that the early or late 80s, like through the 90s, toy style marketing executives
to
where
give
they're
their
like,
tentacles a haircut.
Yeah, well, they're like, well, we need to make this one the one that is like edgy and gonna appeal to, they're making the Backstreet Boys version, so they all look kind of the same, but they're each a little bit different, so that a person can go, that's the one that I like and identify with the best, and the ones that I'm gonna buy that toy from. And that's the whole thing, is you make them different enough to where you get to hit different, like, money demographics. Are you gonna go get them?
Well, yeah.
Okay, I mean, he's gonna go grab some Predator toys off of our out of our archives here. Yeah, we got shelves of, if you think this is a cluttered mess of nerdy, like, waste of money, there's another one over there that's full. So he went and okay.
There's ways of doing it the correct way, and without giving them a slicked back mohawk thing. You can't cut and
You
shape
can do different
tentacles,
helmets, which are like cultural artifacts.
You
Here,
can do different helmets.
let's come
Was that what you were?
I was gonna do the upper cam. Here we go.
Yeah, okay.
Middle focus.
So I mean, there's a different. It's like the same, but just a little different. You don't have to make them wildly different. There's ways you can give them a little bit different skin tone or design and change their helmet a little bit to add some style. But you can't, like, chop their tentacles off and change the way that they are physically completely, and then just be like, oh yeah, this is like, it's just a thing that they can do.
They got different mouths and different appendages and different,
Yeah, just like completely different bodies and heads, like on them, like in the Hulu one.
You can do that with xenomorphs.
And then
you can do.
Yeah, xenomorphs, because that's like how they take on the genetic material of the thing that they grew inside of.
Yes, and it goes back to something that we've said on the show before. Yes, all of these are fantasy monsters. Yes, they don't exist in the real. But if you're going to create a world for us to watch movies in, please play by the rules of the world that you create. Don't break your own world rules.
Yeah,
and that kind of does it.
Don't make big, sweeping, wild changes to something just so that you can have your mark on it as the asshole that screwed up the Predator. Like,
no, but they're making it better. They want to be the asshole that made it the best.
I get a little upset about it, maybe because I grew up in love with the Predator and Predator 2 and the video games and the comic books and, like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Predator and Predator 2 and Alien vs. Predator comics and video games, like, those are things that mattered and when it was good, and it's just not the same now. And for this to be an Alien vs. Predator movie also was just, you don't stop. Just stop that.
Yeah, get it out of here. Well, that's in the news. What else did I have mentioned that I wanted to talk about? I don't know.
Well, Tremors. It's still a stirring that they're going to be rebooting that franchise, kicking it off again. So as a means to that, they're stirring up interest with Tremors moving to Shudder.
I think that's an appropriate place. Shudder is a service I pay for and rarely watch, and that's sad because I just wish I had more time to watch just stuff at home. But speaking of horror movies, though, a few weeks ago when Sinners first came out, there was these execs going, it's not doing what we wanted it to in the first weekend. But hopefully they're all eating crow right now because it dominated the box office yet again and is doing something that an original horror picture hasn't done in a long time. So I think that this is one of those good examples that these studio executives need to just slow their freaking roll and let a movie just exist for a couple of weeks before they start going, it's a flop. It didn't make all the money back. Oh, it's bad. It's flop. Because then, like we've said on the show for years, people only pay attention to that headline. And then they'll go, well, if it's not making any money, then it's not very good, so we're not going to go. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, Sinners is doing really well at the box office. And, you know, it only had a 6% drop from its week 1 to week 2, which is amazing for a movie.
I mean, maybe word was getting around that it is a black From Dusk Till Dawn, and people are like, I like everything
sounds
about
cool.
that. Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Support this because it's a pretty big risk. You know, it was a movie that was a pretty original concept, and it was not based on any IPs. It was just a good script with a great cast, and it's doing well at the box office. So if you want to see more stuff like that, I know I do, then, you know, go check this movie out. Pretty good. Still in theaters. And it'll probably be in theaters for at least another 3 weeks, so you probably have a chance.
I mean, yeah, I think it's a big enough success and has high enough ratings and stuff like that that people keep going to see it. Velvet Santa says I should go see it. That's what you said last week when you reviewed it, was that you think I would like it.
I think you would like it. I think you'd like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know that I want to go to the theater for it.
It's a good theater movie, though.
With everything that came out last weekend, there's now plenty of movie options. I only watched one of the new movie releases. I want to see The Shrouds because we have it here.
Oh, we do?
Yes, yeah.
I need to go see that this
several
week.
Theaters.
It's only playing in 280 theaters in the country. So.
Wow. Well, we got it here. We also got The Accountant 2 all over the place. I want to see that. And there was another one of those smaller movies, Cheech and Chong, I went and watched, and there was something else that was like we got every movie that was coming out this past weekend. So
Movie Albert on Twitch commented and said Sinners was shot on IMAX film. It was, and I did not get a chance to see it in IMAX, and I would probably go back and see it again in IMAX. I think it would be really, really cool. But I hear it's one of those that kind of like expands in and out between like, oh, this was shot on IMAX and this is back to tradition. But I haven't seen it, so I can't testify that. But I would love to check it out. There's
also a little bit of update on news. Vint said that the Tremors is not supposed to be a reboot, but a sequel. Yeah, everything I was reading there, it's from the original creators of Tremors, but they're calling it a revival. So I don't know how that works with all of the extended Tremors canon from all. Are
they bringing the fart ones back?
The ass blasters?
That's what we need to know.
Yeah, all of the extended Tremors canon from the movies and the Sci-Fi Channel show and the Sci-Fi Channel movies and stuff like that. But yeah, having the little ones and the ass blasters. What were the ones in the second one?
I don't remember their names. They're all worms to me.
He hoses himself down with the fire extinguisher so he can get past their heat vision, because they were the ones on like 2 legs. But then they became ass blasters. Tremors was fun there for a bit.
And then it got weird. It got Sci-Fi Pictures original style.
Yeah, it got too weird. You know what, though? Talking about weird movies and things in the theater, you see that there was an interview with like the CEO of Netflix, and he claimed that Netflix is saving Hollywood.
Dude, I saw that, and I'm like,
he was like,
dude, this guy needs to be beat to death.
Yeah, he goes, man, going to the theater is just a outdated form, outmoded means of watching a movie, and most people just don't want to do it. So they're giving people movies at home, and that seems to be what they want. So the success of Netflix shows that Netflix is single-handedly keeping the movie industry going.
Shut up. All right. Well, let's talk about what's coming out in theaters this weekend before we start reviewing movies, because we got a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of stuff coming out in theaters this weekend. There is a very controversial movie coming out in theaters this week that we've talked about a lot on this show. A lot of people talked about this. Court justices have talked about this movie. I'm very surprised that we are actually getting to see this movie in theaters because of all the legal ramifications behind it. But we are finally getting the Joel Souza written and directed film Rust, which stars Alec Baldwin. And that's really the only people we're going to talk about because Alec Baldwin killed a dude. Ish.
Yeah, I don't know how to word that.
The gun that Alec Baldwin was wielding in this film killed a dude, and it was a really, really interesting time in film law because our stance here at the Drive-In Speaker Box, which we won't have to. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum in other episodes. Is we feel that by the time that gun got into his hands, there should have been so many more checks and balances because it's not Alec Baldwin's responsibility to make sure that that's not a real gun. It is Alec Baldwin's responsibility to pretend that he is a guy shooting a person.
Yeah, it is in no way the actor's responsibility to ensure that because there's a prop master, there's a weapons master, there's so many
on set security.
That is their job to make sure that the actor has what they need to act.
To just grab and act, Yeah. And so it was a very controversial thing, and a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, Alec Baldwin should have never." I feel bad for Alec Baldwin because he's got to carry that for the rest of his life, and I can't imagine what that would be like. And so yeah, I'm very surprised that this movie's coming out, but it is coming out in theaters this week. So, man.
I feel like it's one of those things where, Vince says someone said they're still putting that out. It's like. Yeah, I think the same thing. At this point, it's like with all of that, if they didn't release the movie, what was it all for kind of a thing?
So Merle asks, is this in the film, the specific scene? I would probably say no. I don't know. It's a Western. A lot of people get shot. I don't know the context of that particular scene. I'll probably do some research this week to find out. But... and Al Topich on Twitch just said, will people go see it out of morbid curiosity? I absolutely think so. And that's probably one of the reasons that they're like, well, let's take the gamble and put it into the theaters instead of just tabling it for insurance purposes, which they do. That's a thing. And I thought that's what was going to happen. They were just going to insurance claim this thing and get it out of here. But I feel like with as much... I guess the rule, the no publicity is bad publicity rule, that maybe that's what's happening here, and they go, well, let's take that chance.
I don't know. I want to watch it only because
you like westerns.
I like westerns.
Yeah,
and it does look interesting. I think it's kind of now that the filming's done and everything's out, and the plot is that it's about somebody who is on the lam due to an accidental killing. That's I don't know, but it does look like an interesting movie. And I would like to see Alec Baldwin in a movie where he's not just playing one of his comedy characters like that. I don't remember the last time he did something that was like a serious movie.
It's been a minute. Well, wasn't he in Mission Impossible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the cool dude that came in. He was one of the
executive guy.
Yeah, and then he got killed by Mr. Whispers or whatever.
Yeah. Movie Albert says that he's not seen any trailers for Rust. I haven't either. It's releasing on May 2nd, but it's also getting, I think, a VOD release that you can pay at the same time. So usually when they do that, it means it's not getting wide expanded released. I think it'll get, instead of nationwide, I think it'll probably get expanded release, which is going to put it in probably 1,000 or less theaters in the country out of the almost 5,000 theaters there are. So it'll be out, but it's not going to be everywhere. Guarantee it. And as Merle on Twitch just said, might be a classic in 30 years when people forget the controversy. Also true. That happens a lot. People forget really quickly.
It might end up being a fantastic movie. It's not going to be the only movie that's ever been, something that can outshine its tragedies. The Crow. Right. There's movies that are on par with the tragedy, like Twilight Zone or something. Maybe the tragedy outweighs the movie on that one. But a lot of people don't know about it. So they're out there. It's not the only movie to ever be released after there's an accident on set. So.
Also coming out in theaters, a very interesting movie, Nicolas Cage. I don't know if you've seen the trailers to the movie. It's called The Surfer.
I have seen the trailer.
And, this era of Nicolas Cage is pretty great.
I wonder how these other actors even compose themselves or maintain being on film and portraying a character opposite of Nicolas
Cage, like being a lunatic.
Yeah.
It's got to be an honor. So if you've not seen the trailer to The Surfer is this kind of bizarro story. I mean, if you've ever seen Falling Down, I think this is a very similar kind of storyline trajectory where it's this guy. He's just trying to enjoy going to the beach with his son to go surfing, and all of this stuff, he gets humiliated by a group of locals, and he gets drawn into this weird conflict, and he loses his mind. And I don't want to go too far into it, but I think you should watch the trailer. It looks very bizarre. It spirals into a very, very unusual territory, both thematically and the way that it's shot. And Nicolas Cage could not be more of a perfect choice for this particular film. So I'm looking forward to it. I definitely hope we get it in theaters here, because I will be in that theater immediately, because I love seeing movies like this. Yeah. Is this one that you think you'd want to check out?
I have no idea. The whole time I was seeing the trailer for this, the one thought in my head was just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And any movie that you want to think, what the hell, and then Nicolas Cage is attached.
And isn't it like in Australia?
Probably.
I think so.
I think that's where it is. Anyway, The Surfer coming out in theaters this week. Looks pretty interesting. I'm here for it. Also, probably the thing that's going to be crammed down your throats in all the theaters, pushing out all the limited release movies that you thought you wanted to see, and then you get to the theater and you realize that they're gone, to make room for the fucking Thunderbolts. And this movie, another entry into the Marvel Studio madness of how do we keep people watching these movies. We include tertiary characters from other properties that we have tried to set up with springboarding lackluster limp dick TV shows, and putting them all in one room and hoping that people pay money to go see this. And I just cannot find any shred of enjoyment about wanting to go see this movie. I've seen the trailer 1,000 times. I actually particularly enjoy Sebastian Stan. I think he's great. Florence Pugh is fine. David Harbour, I like David Harbour. I've been David Harbour out a little bit. And Lewis Pullman is also not bad to watch on screen. He's been in some really great roles. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is fantastic. Wyatt Russell, by blood right, I have to like him because he's Kurt Russell's son. I'm still mad that we did not get that Escape from New York sequel with Lil Snake, or a prequel with Lil Snake.
Oh, he would probably be really good in a prequel.
Dude,
like how Snake got to where he's like the spec ops dude.
I would gladly watch a prequel recast Snake Plissken, as long as it was Wyatt Russell.
Yeah, that would probably be kind of sick if they did it like Far Cry Blood Dragon, but it's like Snake Plissken and his spec ops, and like how he ends up getting arrested before going into Escape from New York or something like that. Or maybe just how Snake became a badass. Just, I don't want some dumb origin of his snake tattoo, or like how he lost his eye or something like that. Just like, give me like some sort of really cool escape.
Another mission he was on.
Yeah, like some...
The name's Snake.
Yeah. That would
The name's Plissken.
Yeah, do it.
The best like bookend joke in the history of action movies. Opening scene, Mr. Plissken, the name's Snake. The very end, all right, Snake, the name's Plissken. Is this the most beautifully written...
Because Snake Plissken is a contrarian.
He's just like, whatever you say, I hate. And
yeah.
That's
so one of the best things about Snake Plissken is that he's a dickhole, right? Then the only reason he's on the mission is to get that bomb out of him, right? Like, yeah.
So
Escape from New York is such a cool
movie. Albert said Wyatt Russell was good in Overlord. Hard agree. Overlord, which I think I called that the Wolfenstein 3D movie. Was actually a pretty good movie, and Wyatt Russell was great in it. And Wyatt Russell's performance in that movie made me further recommend him reprising roles of his father. Like if we needed another It movie, Wyatt Russell. If we needed another Pliskin movie, Wyatt Russell.
Yeah,
like
they have
I'm
a
here
rare
for it.
opportunity to make like a decent prequel. Because anything else, you do a prequel to an Escape from New York movie. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, Harrison Ford never had any kids that I can just be like, you know what? Here's an Indiana Jones. He's right there. No, but Kurt Russell has a lot of characters in the arsenal that we could be like, there's gonna be one.
You know what Wyatt Russell would be perfect for? Captain Ron prequel.
Oh, dude. Wyatt Russell would slay as Captain Ron.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh my God, that would be
Captain Ron's such a badass movie.
That would be so good. Anyway, Thunderbolts is coming out in theaters. It's going to be in every theater. Disney is going to demand you watch this movie, and then the news articles are going to come out, and they're going to go, "What happened? We don't understand why nobody went and saw this movie. It must mean that the theaters are broken and the customers are just. It's not the movie's fault. It's amazing. Something else is wrong in theater." No, dude.
Get ready next week to read the phrase superhero fatigue.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's perfect that right now because Sinners is in theaters as an original movie that's got action and whatever.
It's a From Dusk to Dawn remake, though.
But not officially. Not officially. Just idealistically it is. But this one is like, look, you can still make people still want to go see original ideas. It doesn't have to be, this big dumbass Marvel. These universes are collapsing under their own weight. And yeah, so anyway, Thunderbolts Asterisk is coming out in theaters this week, and I probably won't go see it. Like I've got, if I can see The Surfer, if I can go see Shrouds, there's so many movies this week that I need to catch that I definitely know I'm not going to have time to go see Thunderbolts.
Oh yeah. I gotta find time to catch Accountant and Shrouds.
Oh yeah, I still need to see Accountant as well. So, okay, well, do you want to jump into your review of Cheech and Chong really quick?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
So
take a little breath here.
One of the movies that we were fortunate enough to get here, which I was afraid that we would not, was Cheech and Chong's last movie. And it is primarily a documentary,
right?
Yeah, and a look back on the career of Cheech and Chong. And it's done a lot like I went and watched that Led Zeppelin documentary where it starts out and it shows from childhood to beginning their becoming Led Zeppelin, where it was just how they got to where they were. And this one is very similar. So it has Cheech and Chong, modern day, riding in a car together through the desert with some loose plot of they're trying to find a place called The Joint. Go figure. And so on their little road trip, they're having recollections of their lives and career together. And it starts out with, hey, thanks, Zimmerman. It starts out with them showing Cheech and Chong both being, from like where they were raised, how they grew up, and how they got to the point of where they would eventually cross paths and become, one of the biggest comedy duos to have ever been. And you got to learn about, Tommy Chong's history with music and having all of these music groups and helping to discover the Jackson 5 and the giant Motown acts and playing on all of these things, having songwriting credits and being a much bigger star than what you even realized that he was. And Cheech, his development and how he ended up in Canada and able to meet Tommy Chong and become part of an improv group, which then whittled down to just the two of them, where they took it on the road and became the comedy duo that we know. And from there, the majority of the movie is actually focusing on their stand-up career, and it's not until like the last bit that they really get into talking about their movies, mainly focusing on Up in Smoke, and then kind of talking about the other ones just a little bit there. it's not a full journey of their entire careers either. They kind of touch on Born in East LA. They don't talk about Far Out Man. They don't get into Chong being in like that 70s show or any of their or like Cheech being in Nash Bridges or anything like that. There were also big moments in their careers, but I think that's because those were full-on solo projects for the most part, even though Cheech makes an appearance in Far Out Man. But it was really interesting, and you get to learn a lot about the two of them. Some things not so flattering, of course, about them. But
long time ago in an entertainment world that was fueled by drugs and different standards of things, there's bound to have some calamity.
But and it was an interesting experience to get to watch that and learn different things. And I went and I watched it with two people, and we were all of different ages and having experienced Cheech and Chong differently growing up. And that, like, I've seen every movie involving them. They talk about Corsican Brothers just a little bit. They, like I said, they don't really talk about some of the other ones. But I've seen all of them. I've seen Up in Smoke. I've seen Next Movie. I've seen Still Smoking. I've seen Nice Dreams.
Which is pretty interesting because you hate reefer and reefer addicts.
But remember our 420 episode last year? Yeah, how many reefer movies do I know?
You like them all?
No,
I think I secretly wish that you were a reefer addict.
No, I think there's just something about stoner comedies that's just funny.
What do you think about Pineapple Express?
I love Pineapple Express.
See, you like stoner comedies. You just love them. What about How High?
Yeah, dude, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, How High is
Get them. That's such a fun movie.
That was Jim Brewer, right?
No.
What was the one with Jim Brewer in? With Jim Brewer.
That was with Chappelle and Harlan Williams. And
what was the name of that one? I can't remember, but
I would have known if you didn't.
Because I figured like you love Jim Brewer too, right?
He was funny. There was a time where he was funny for sure.
High Times. Thank you, Beelzebub Ding Dong.
Yeah. But this movie shows the creation of stoner
Half-Baked.
comedy.
Oh,
Half-Baked. That's what it's called.
High Times is a magazine.
High Times is a magazine. Half-Baked is the movie. But it shows how Cheech and Chong created that, and it's like it might seem like it's kind of like a natural thing to go towards for a lot of people, and it might be overplayed now, but they're the ones that really started that with characters from their act, that all started from their improv troupe. And all of that was really interesting. It's a really good movie. It's very educational. It's fun to just learn about these people that you've been seeing probably your entire life, if not the majority of your life.
Yeah.
For most people, and it's something that you get to see that Cheech isn't the character. He's not Pedro. Like on screen.
Yeah. Or the
Chong
guy at the beginning of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Chong isn't necessarily the man, but he's closer to the man than
B-word,
Pedro.
B-word, come on in, B-word lovers. Set the titty twister, we're slicing B-word in half.
Well, and what's one of the best parts about it is they tell you the origin of Pedro and Man. Like, it's from people they met. Man is based on a guy that his name was Strawberry. And you see, like, all these connections from how they grew up and the characters that they do put in their act and later in their movies, and how Dave's Not Here became just a running joke with him, because it started as Cheech being locked outside of the studio while they were recording their first album, and Chong deciding to screw with him while he was stuck outside in like 110-degree weather. He's like, who's there? No, Dave's not here, man. Like, that whole thing is just a joke that they played on each other, and how their comedy was funny to them, and that made it funny for everyone. So if you have any interest in comedy or entertainment or Cheech and Chong in general, it's a good watch.
Well, right on. Well, it's out there in some theaters, not a lot. So if it's in a theater near you, you can check it out. But it'll probably hit streaming before too long, because that those kind of things do. But in theater this week that I caught was Until Dawn. Until Dawn, of course, the movie made after a video game that I haven't played, but in my quest for understanding, I talked to some people that have played the video game, and I looked up a little bit of information about the video game to kind of get my ideas of what this video game is about. And this film, which is directed by David Sandberg, it reads to me as like it wanted to be Cabins in the Woodsy, right? Mm-hmm. Where there's all these just crazy monsters that are coming out. And the other thing that kind of bothered me about this movie is this movie is a Wendigo film, right? I did not get this from the trailer. And watching this movie, you know, if you study a lot of American folk, or well, not just American folklore, but just like world folklore, cryptozoology lore, but the concept of a Wendigo is most notably found in Native American folklore, and it's like an Algonquin sort of story of this giant, kind of often horned but not always emaciated zombie thing that's like has this cannibalistic thirst for human flesh that eats people to continue to survive. It's often kind of like this sort of wintertime monster story, right? Most of the time when you find stories about the Wendigo, like the film Wendigo or Ravenous, which is one of my favorite Wendigo movies of all time, it's just such a great film. They often take place at winter and in the woods. This movie just said Wendigo, and I guess that means you're stuck being a zombie. Another thing about this movie that was strange that is not in the video game is this time loop concept. And these characters are trapped in this house. They all get killed. But what we find out is a bunch of different Wendigos that are on the property that when I saw Peter Stormare was in the movie, which I love Peter Stormare, and I'm like, oh, okay, this might not be so bad. Peter Stormare did not help make this movie any better.
What was his role? Creepy guy with an accent?
Yeah, well, duh. How'd you know?
That's what I'm. Well,
how'd you know?
Only from every character he's played, except for
"You children will die."
Armageddon is the only thing where he's not a creepy guy.
Yeah, he's always playing creepy dude with an accent. But Peter Stormare is great. I love Peter Stormare, and he was really good in American Gods as well, but we won't go there. Anyway, he's Dr. Hill, this guy who's, I guess, studying Wendigo. But the movie really doesn't have much of a plot, and the time loop hourglass thing was not actually in the video game at all. But the directors and the studio execs, in their brilliant infinite wisdom, were like, well, what if we just kill him over and over and over and over again to kind of simulate the video game like dying and starting over, so there it'll kind of be like a video game, dude. It's so creative. And it didn't work very well. What it did allow them to do is show a tremendous amount of death scenes, which I think is also what they were trying to go for with this movie. Is they're like, how can we pack in a ton of really gory, hilarious deaths of like people getting their eyes skewered out, or their heads cut off, or they're drinking the water and exploding for whatever reason. And like, the problem that I have with this movie is it changed this movie, which I've heard that the video game's actually pretty cool and has a pretty great story about the concept of Wendigo, and turned this into just this really unexplainable, tons of supernatural things happening, like people flying through the air telekinetically, and water that makes you explode if you drink it, and just all these just things that took away from anything that would make you kind of be fearful of this particular or understand the concept of this character, this folklore creature called the Wendigo. It really had nothing to do with the concept of Wendigo, except for they just said the word, and there's these like zombie-like guys that want to eat people. Except for they also didn't really eat people; they just wanted to kill you, and maybe they just killed you and then ate you later. It didn't really show a whole lot of the eating part. And none of the characters were very likable. They kind of got boring, and truth be told, I kind of fell asleep in the first 10 minutes and like woke myself up at the first kill, and I was like, oh god. The casting was pretty boring and pretty paint by numbers. Here's a collection of the bohemian girl, here's the nerdy girl, here's the kind of the guy that is sort of the protagonist, but he's like the nerdy dude that has a crush on the edgy girl, and then there's the edgy girl, and then there's the jocko that's dating the hot chick, and it's like the same shit.
Definitely like Cabin in the Woods, Dream Warriors, like
that assemblage of
get each one of
tropey.
the tropes. Yeah,
And then there's Peter Stormare, and so this movie
just
just
a trope himself.
He is a trope himself, and it just goes through this cycle of repetitiveness until it's like, oh well, if we survive the night, then we don't become a Wendigo, and they just like they survive the night, and then they escape, but then the very last scene is, you know, the this closed circuit TV system of the house, and then you see another car pull up. You're like, well, I guess it's going to happen again, you know, and then it doesn't really give you any information about why they're a Wendigo, why this guy's studying Wendigo, what this town does, why does this town maybe have a time loop where they're able to get resurrected over and over and over. None of that is put into any sort of context. They could have had a magic book on a table and go, this magic book makes a time loop, and I'd be like, okay, cool, got it, magic book, time loop, we're good. They don't explain any of that shit. It's just an hourglass that resets, and then they come back and they start because they're trying to input a video game mechanic into a narrative film, and that was fucking dumb. And so Velvet Santa brought up an art house film, Cemetery Man. Cemetery Man, otherwise known as De la Morte de l'Amour, a very interesting zombie film that has a kind of an unusual ending, but that is a significantly better movie. And there's a reason-ish for people that are coming back. It just happens to happen at this particular graveyard, and they know it, they talk about it, they address it, and then the movie continues, right? So, yeah. Anyway, Until Dawn, it's not great. It's a pretty forgettable cash grab horror movie with a lot of death scenes and not really any story of which I could even tell you, other than kids die over and over and they finally stop dying at the end. That's the movie. So yeah, it's in theaters right now. You can check it out if you want to, if that's your thing, if you just want to watch a bunch of death scenes. Better than House of the Dead. Are we
I think it's hard to not be better than House of the Dead, though.
Yeah. That doesn't take a lot.
Or Doom. Like, those are just two movies. It's not going to be hard to be better than those.
I would say that the use of the God mode code in Doom was about on par with how ridiculous the time death mechanic was in this movie. Yeah. Anyway, it's in theaters. It was too all over the place. For a movie that's supposed to be about Wendigo, there were so many supernatural things that were unexplained that didn't make any sense. So that made it feel Cabins in the Woodsy without like being as good as Cabin in the Woods. Cabin in the Woods is a great movie that is made by a person who absolutely loves the horror genre and wanted to like pay homage to all their favorite horror movies. Say what you will about Eli Roth. Not all his movies are my favorite. But anyway, Cabin in the Woods is pretty fucking fire.
That's because Cabin in the Woods is just like, hey, you know how you like horror movies? Well, this is a horror movie for people that like horror movies. And here's the tropes, but we're telling you, it's in your face, and here it is.
And we like it too.
Yeah.
You know?
Cabin in the Woods is good.
And as Vince just said on Twitch, he said he really liked Cabin, but not the ending. And
fair.
You know, I mean,
okay. Yeah.
It's a weird ending. So anyway, but those are the movies that are in theaters. We only have about 5 minutes left. You know, we're both watching You. Are you enjoying it at least?
Well, I watched the final season.
Yeah.
I mean,
is it done?
Yeah, it's done. It's nowhere near as good as the first two seasons at all.
Yeah. Was it better than the last season?
No. I think this is one of the worst ones. And it all is because they've built Joe up. And Joe is like someone that you like reason with and you sympathize with him, but this one
He's
is
Dexter-esque.
Yeah, this is all supposed to. It's like literary tropes and a lot of being like, "Well, good win in the end," and then they try and villainize Joe every way they can, but you're in too deep with him already. And every time they're like, "Well, he's a bad guy," it's like, "Yeah, but maybe let him kill this person because I don't like that person." And of course, they give him an ending because this is the ending of the show, and it sucks. It's just such a let letdown.
My biggest complaint so far, and I'm only halfway through, is I really find the bookstore girl to be super
you're in
cringy.
season 5.
I'm in it.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant you're halfway through the series.
No, I'm halfway through season 5.
Yeah, okay, so Bronte sucks.
Yeah, I can't stand her character.
Every episode, I'm like, kill this girl. Please kill this girl. I would like for you to kill this girl. Yeah.
I will say that I can't remember her name right now, but I noticed her in True Blood many years ago, and she's popped in and out of different projects throughout the years, but never made it like in a main character setting. But she's playing the twin sisters. And
the girl from the acapella movie.
Yeah, and I'm I'm kind of impressed with her performance.
Yes, she does a great
job.
Yeah.
And she's carrying that season.
Yeah, because she makes her one character, you're like, oh, kill her, and the other one would be like, don't hurt her.
Don't hurt her. Yeah. And to be able to carry that on screen, I mean, I'm not going to put it on the same level as Sinners, with that performance, but it's hard.
If you're only halfway there, dude, yeah, she does a great job. She is. I would say she's the better part of this season. I
saw the scene where her sister comes into the boardroom as. So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that was great. It was a great scene. So that's where I left off.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah. So the payoff, there's no payoff at the end. It is a letdown.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. So the build up to it, you're like, ooh, this might be good. And the worst part about it is like this whole season just points out, it's like all Joe ever really wants is for someone that like just cares about him, so that he doesn't have to be a monster that he's been turned into, but it just like they won't let him, I guess. But they also make it where he screws it up in this one. So that's what I'm saying. Every time they're like, screw this guy, he sucks, you should hate him. But then he does something, you're like, no, he's kind of.
I want to see where he's coming from.
He kind of screw that person. They needed to die. So, and there's a big giant twist in this season that makes it dumb.
Oh man, okay, yeah. I'll be on the lookout for that one. But here we go. The final segment of the show, as we always do, is the top 10. We actually will probably take this down to like the top 14 because there's some new releases that came out in theaters that are in that top 14. So we'll make our way through there. Shrouds, which we mentioned, is number 17. It's down there. It's only in 270 theaters. But it is playing here in Northwest Arkansas. For those of you that live around us,
yes,
you can check it out.
We should all go watch it. Cronenberg movies are fun. I did have my girlfriend watch the trailer because I was like, we got to go watch this. And she's like, I don't know. I feel like I'll be scared, but it might be fun. Let's go.
You'll be confused.
Yeah, it's like Cronenberg movies are like, they're cerebral and weird as hell. And that's what makes them fun. So, yeah, Shrouds. Number 15, Snow White. Get fucked. 6 weeks, less than 86 million, dropped from number 10 to number 15. Number 14, On Swift Horses from Sony, 542 million brought in by that one in its opening week. $542,000. Opening at number 13, Cheech and Chong's last movie, also in less than 1,000 theaters, 832 theaters for it. It brought in $560,000. So it's out there. It'll probably be something a lot of people watch on Netflix, I'm sure, while they're toking the reefer at home. The Pride and Prejudice re-release, second week out, at number 12, $653,000 for it. It's brought in $5.5 million for its 20th anniversary. Drop, even though it has gotten good reviews and done well, it's at number 11, dropping from the number 6 spot, $946,000 for it. In 3 weeks, made just under $16 million. And then now to the top 10. At number 10, climbing from number 28. That's the other one we got here. I pointed it out in our Discord. Yeah, The Legend of Ochi. We have that locally as well. $1.4 million for that one. It's brought in 1.5 total in 2 weeks, but that was because it gained 1,150 theaters, bringing it up to 1,153 theaters. So if you want to watch a movie about Scandinavians and forest monsters and Willem Dafoe being weird as shit, there you go. And then at number 9, Pink Floyd live at Pompeii. 2.6 million brought in for that one.
It's only in 678 theaters, which means that those theaters were pumping out tickets to this thing.
Yeah. I had read about that, but I totally forgot that it was going to be a thing. And then at number 8, Warfare, 2.65 million in its third week out, bringing it up to 21.8. Probably pretty decent money for an A24 film.
Yep.
And then at number 7, The Amateur, 3.7 million for it. 3 weeks out has brought it to 33.7. Pretty sure that's not making the kind of dollars they were hoping. 46.7, bringing it up to 80.5 total across the globe. Lots of star power in a movie that's not making a lot of dollars. And then just above it, talking about star power, at number 6, The King of Kings, 4.2 million for it. 3 weeks out has brought it $54.7 million.
I feel like this movie, it only did like 4 million in the domestic or the international market because I guess internationally, White Jesus is probably not as popular. I don't know, like Angel Studios making this one. I mean, it did pretty well, I guess, but I think that they were expecting it to be better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Real quick, too, Vince said he doesn't know anything about the show You, but the last season is being universally panned. That's good to hear because, we watched it and it was like, man, this is not the show that I've come to like. It's very Game of Thrones ending. Yeah.
poop.
Where it was just like, hey, guess you like this? No, forget you. Yep. And then at number 5, and opening at number 5, Until Dawn, you just talked to us about it, brought in 8 million here in the U.S., another 10.1 elsewhere in the world, bringing it to 18.1 total globally. We'll see if that one goes anywhere because I'm sure there's lots of fans of the game. Speaking of Rami Malek, they're just a little below it. Big character in the video game. I'm sure there's lots of people that are like, this is not.
It's not the same.
But apparently they're now discussing a movie and game sequel after the release of this movie.
Oh, wow, weird.
And then at number 4, dropping from the number 2 spot, a Minecraft movie, $22.7 million. 4 weeks out has brought in $380 million in the U.S. alone, $436 million everywhere else, bringing it to $816 million bucks.
I think it was Vince in the comments on Twitch. He earlier they said that there was they're re-releasing Minecraft in more theaters with like a meme watch-along friendly edition to try and maybe curb some of the insanity that's going in and some of the screenings.
Kind of like they did with Wicked, where it's like no singing, and then they're like, okay, here's the sing-along edition. Mm-hmm. And then opening at number 3, The Accountant 2 brought in $24.5 million, 13.2 elsewhere, so it brought in 37.7. I don't think that that's probably terrible for a movie that came out 17 years after it's the first one.
Yeah.
A very unexpected sequel. And then surprise in the number 2 spot, 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith.
People are cheering in the theater.
Dude, I saw so many people in costume carrying lightsabers.
I had some people come to Pinpoint afterwards, and I was like, did you go see Revenge of the Sith? And he goes, hell yeah, I did.
It's crazy to think that people are like, man, episode 3 is sick. But
That's how bad the new stuff sucks.
After the new movies, it's like, man, remember when we didn't like episode 3, but now look at it.
It held up compared to this garbage. No. And then people, I've seen video clips where people are cheering in the theater where he walks into that room with the younglings, and they're like, oh, Papa Lou,
wow.
What's this? Oh, don't hurt me. And he goes,
Master Skywalker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just because kids are like, on-screen children murder.
Mm-hmm.
But brought in $24.5 million in the U.S., 17.7 elsewhere, $43.2 million for a re-release of a movie that we all hated 20 years ago. And then at number 1, holding the number 1 spot with another $45.7 million. Jeez.
Yeah, dude.
Second week out from Warner Brothers, Sinners, man. It's brought in $123 million in the U.S., another $40 million elsewhere, so $163 million bucks. Wow. Good job, Michael B. Jordan, bro.
Yep. Great cast. Ryan Coogler is basically going to have anything that he wants to make greenlit after this. I guarantee it. I mean, after Black Panther, after Fruitvale Station, after that. I mean, he's just like, I'm going to make this movie, and they're going to go, okay. And
yeah, Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler both. They're like, we're want to do this. And people were like,
Sure.
yeah, I mean, you make hits, bro. Velvet Santa said he screamed, "I hate you," like Anakin Skywalker at a guy wearing a Darth Maul shirt the other day. So
That's funny. All right, guys.
yeah, watch out for people like Velvet Santa at the movie theater.
Yeah, they'll get you. Well, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever it is you like to listen to the show, man. We will be back next week. We've got the link tree, driveinspeakerbox.com. It has access to our Discord, our whatever social media. You know, you can download this podcast wherever it is you download podcasts. But it's a lot more fun to join in live. And next week, hopefully, we'll have a lot of interesting movies to see. I've got a lot of movies I want to catch this week if I can, if I have time. And we appreciate you guys. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.